And live, we are here with Jan.
Hi
Jan,
guys.
welcome to come. Welcome to our interesting talk.
Thank you.
Jan, can you just give to the audience who doesn't know you a little bit an idea about you?
Yeah. Hi guys. Again, my name is Jan Mühlfeit. I'm a former Microsoft chairman for Europe, where I spent 22 years, different executive positions. I was 4 years in the row best performing manager or best performing region, if you will. I retired 6 years ago, and today I do like coaching, executive coaching. I'm also mental coach for the Czech Olympic top team, which is like 60 athletes, like top athletes, preparing them for the Olympic Games. But I also coach, some soccer players like Patrick Schick in Bundesliga and a couple of others. I do also my own seminars, Unlocking Human Potential worldwide. I taught it in like 21 different countries. I'm teaching it in SEAT, where I'm, entrepreneur residence, and I'm in the executive advisory board of Imperial College in London. But I do also like some speeches at places like Harvard, Stanford, MIT, and etc. And I also work a lot with the kids. With my counterpart Katarina, we have a program called Unlocking Children Potential. I wrote 2 books. Positive Leader with my dear friend and co-pilot in UK, Melina Costi. It's like in 7 languages. What is a bestseller at Amazon. And the other book, Unlocking Children Potential, which is now in Czech. It's translated in English together with Katarina. So this is kind of way.
You are doing so many things. Can I just...
Absolutely. And I will be a year from now. I'll be 60 years old, and I still do a lot of sport during the day. I just finished. I was teaching. I was still talking to Enrico. I was teaching some MBA course, and before that, I was doing my routines, like physical routines. Yeah.
Which kind of routine do you have, Jan? Because actually, I started like 6 months ago with, I don't know if you know Wim Hof.
Oh, I do Wim Hof for more than 1 year. I did testimonial video for Wim Hof, like half a year ago.
I started this routine with Wim Hof method. And I would say that, since I started, I don't get like sick. It's incredible. But I do like breathing exercise and cold shower.
Yeah.
And I didn't get sick this year. In general, in the summertime, I always get sick. So which kind of routine do you have?
Well, I'll give you my like morning routines. What I do in the morning, I get up like 5:30, 5:45. I meditate like 5 minutes. Then I visualize the day, like like electronics till like 8:30. I do only download my podcast. Okay. Then I drink water with lemon. Then I do like I'm running for 10K, or I'm like walking with the Nordic walking for like 1.5, 2 hours. Then I eat strawberries and blueberries and some nuts and stuff like that. Okay. Then I do like shower, and then the cold shower and the breathing exercise. And I have like the whole day. I'm still doing some exercise in the afternoon. So I do sport like probably 2 hours a day, pretty much. And I do like after 1.5 hour presentation. Today, for example, I was at the clubhouse for like 600 people. I was invited by this winners club from UK. And after that, it was like 2 hours. It was very intensive Q&A. I love it, and they love it. I've got like 600 more followers. After that, what I did, I was like meditating for 10 minutes. What I try to do, I try to have enough mental rest, because while I was very successful in my career, 9 years ago, unfortunately, I was deeply depressed and I almost died. Like for 6 months, I really, really very bad depression. I was 3 months in the mental hospital. I recovered fully, but it was very bad. And the reason...
How did you recover? I mean, just with meditation?
No. I was like, look, I was dying for 2 months, so meditation would not work at that time.
Okay.
They tried different, antidepressants, and they didn't work at all. Okay. So, and then they found some antidepressant which started to work like in March after 3 months. But I was that depression was so bad. Okay. I know how your brain works when you are on the top of the global economy. what I did like 4 years in a row, my region was the best performing region worldwide when Microsoft was the biggest company on stock exchange. It's like winning Olympic Games 4 years in a row. Okay. And then obviously after, many years after that, I went, down. I was depressed. So I know a lot about the brain because I learned by my own experience. That's why I'm able to coach, top performers, because all top performers, I'm not saying that they are depressed. I've got like a couple of Olympic winners already, but if they are losing, it's a mini depression. It is, right? So you need to recover fast, right? In order to be successful and happy. And
what did you do in the end?
And it has nothing to do, the recovery is not, or general, my depression has nothing to do with Microsoft. It was me. I was having enough like physical rest or physical recovery, if you will, but not mental recovery. My brain was still up and running. I was not sleeping enough. Obviously the chemistry, the chemicals happen, they help, right, a bit, and then step by step, I really, change it. And then I started to do sport again and stuff like that. I still stay another 3 years in Microsoft. It is not the fact that I left Microsoft after 22 years. It has nothing to do with my depression, right? But I wanted to do something different, right? And I'm still having very friendly relationship. In fact, today, 1 o'clock in the morning, friend of mine, Daniel Lubin, who was a right hand for the Steve Jobs, he was with me then in Microsoft. He's a good friend of mine, lives in California. He's a CEO of Museum of the Computer History, and there was a great guy, who was working in Lotus. He created Lotus Notes, and then obviously Ray Ozzie is the name, and then he was a CTO in Microsoft. So they will basically honor him they will put him in the Hall of Fame, if you will. And Bill Gates will be there, They invited a couple of folks. So I hope I'll see Bill Gates after, a couple of years, whatever, right? So it will be funny. No, it was really like step-by-step process. The recovery, it was tough, and I learned so much, right? And but again, whatever is not killing you, it's strengthening you, right? And
but if you can give like to us like some tips, like let's say like 3 tips in order to change the biochemistry when you are in this kind of situation.
Right. First of all, you should have enough mental rest, guys. Right? Because it's your jobs. It's like you are like top performer, like top athlete, but you don't have. I tell you what, because I'm like every day with different athletes. Okay, athletes today, they would train 3-4 hours, but then the rest is recovery. Recovery is science today in sport. Okay, and we in the business, we are not very often, we are not given a shit to recovery, right? Recovery or the rest is very often taken in the business like, oh, I'm weak. It's a weakness that I need to have. You know what I mean, right?
Okay.
So you need to have the rest, okay, and not only physical rest, but also mental rest. So
you mean sleeping?
The good things are meditation, okay. The good thing is yoga. That's what I do. The good thing is, Tai Chi, right? And if you are like nervous or tired, what you can do, it's like some breathing exercises, right? One thing what I can teach you, it's a breathing in the box. For 4, you go and breathe by nose, breathe in, and for 4, you hold. Then you breathe out and you hold. You go like that. It's called breathing in the box. For example, U.S. Army is using that.
I was hearing about this method when I was listening one audio of this kind of US coach like Tim Robbins.
Yeah,
he was telling like something like this in terms of breathing exercise.
Yeah. It can be, that Tony Robbins is, it's like this one, right, is doing it a bit different. So there is another, breathing exercise. For 2, you breathe in like, and long breathe out by mouth. And I tell you what it does. Breathe in brings tension, so it's like energy, and breathing out, it's a release, number one. So you are cooling down your amygdala. That's number one. And number two, in order to have enough oxygen in your blood, oxygen is obviously distributed by hemoglobin, okay? And hemoglobin, to do that job, to distribute, oxygen in your blood, hemoglobin needs to have a right level of the CO2. And if you breathe out in a short way, there's not enough, you go immediately out with the CO2. It's not enough CO2. And your performance goes down because you don't have enough oxygen in your blood, easy as it is. It is, if you wanted to learn more, there's a great guy, he's a neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman is the name of the guy. He's, pushing this technique a lot, right? So that's another, breathing, it's great. So it's another breathing technique. Then what you can do, right? Because our fears and the stress means that you are not in the present moment. So if you concentrate, you are not afraid, right? Because you are here and now. Let's try to do following. Let's breathe in a lot by nose.
Okay.
And breathe out. And tell me if you were afraid of something. You were not, because you were here and now. Your breath is always in the present moment. Okay. That's why breathing is so important. Okay. So if you are here and now in the present moment, you are concentrated and you're there's no fear. And what is important, is something they call mindfulness, which means doing things mindfully. I can drink this water automatically, or I can take a sip and follow what this water is doing in my body. Okay, it's mindful. You can mindfully walk. You can mindfully eat. Okay. Some of my top executives, they are saying mindfulness, it's too much esoteric. So I call it total mental training for those tough guys, but it's pretty much mindfulness. Okay.
When you work with sport people, and when you work with executive in corporation like Microsoft, for example, do you see any relation with top performer in sport and top performance in corporation like Microsoft, like CEO in corporation?
Look, I'm former professional tennis player. I was playing at that time. Ivan Lendl was playing, and Mechi, who was number 5. Mechi's married, my counterpart for mix. When we were playing mix, Petra Tesarova was the name of the girl.
Okay.
She married her, and what I learned from tennis, I use, significantly in business, right? Okay. Because, for example, in tennis, like in business and like in the life, you are pretty much on your own. The people will advise you, but it's about your decisions. Okay, I'm the guy. I was living for 20 years in the village. Okay, I was almost fired from the Czech Technical University. Okay, those universities where I'm teaching the MBAs. I don't have an MBA. Right? I'm just finished the Czech Technical University. Obviously, I did some courses at places like Wharton, Harvard, and stuff like that. London School of Economics. Sure. But I never studied it. And my first job was, receptionist. It's not about where you are now. It's about where you can see yourself in the future, number one. And then decisions you are able to make. Because you are not defined by your environment or by your conditions. You are defined by your decisions. Okay. And there's a lot of people who are saying, well, if I would do that decision, I would do that. It's all bullshit, right? You do decision, you move on, you decide, you act, you check, you correct, this is it, right? That easy as it is, right? And so first thing I learned in Microsoft was really I'm on my own. Second thing, in business, in life, in tennis, you play till the last ball. Okay, this is it, right? You play till the last ball, and I was very close to die. I really played very close to my last ball, when I was depressed, right? Okay. And last but not least, what I learned that, and in a hard way, because I didn't have enough, rest, that the time between the balls is as much important as the time when you play the balls, which means preparation is key. I tell you what, whenever we were presenting to Steve Ballmer or Bill Gates, those top guys, I was presenting to the guy who was richest guy in the world or the third richest guy in the world, right? Ballmer got Bill Gates got now, they are not, now it's changed, but Bill, I think, is having like 130 billion. Balmer is like 90 billion, whatever.
Right.
Anyway, back to that. Then with my team, I said, okay, team, we need that preparation in Munich will be really, really tough one, so we can perform well in Paris or in Seattle whenever was the final, presentation. And that was it. The preparation is, key. And some people are not like ready for those kind of the thing, right? I mean, when I met first time, Bill Gates, a lot of people are afraid of Bill Gates. I was never afraid of him. When I, met him first time, I was ready for that, meeting, because I was like watching some videos with him before, like it was not YouTube yet. This was like video recorded tapes, right? It was like 30 years ago, right? Amazing, And the same with Balmer. Some people were like afraid to, run with the Balmer. I was always running with Steve. He was asking a lot of questions. If I didn't know, I didn't know, right? It was a nice, imagine, you've got like 1 hour, 101 with the CEO of the company, and you're just, running, right? And you have a good discussion, right? So I have many of those, We've got lost ones at La Défense in Paris, That was funny. Anyway, so yeah, this is it.
Jan, what is the best decision that you took in your life?
There are two best decisions, I think.
Okay.
When I joined Microsoft and when I left Microsoft.
Okay. Why?
Imagine when I left Microsoft, stock was 40. Now it's 240. Okay. But it has nothing to do with the fact that like obviously there are a lot of things, and the whole Nasdaq is doing very well and so on. But indeed, I spent there like 22 years, and I tell you what was in my brain. It's nothing to do with the depression, but I was like, hey, it's like I was playing like Premier League or NHL for 22 years, okay? And, this is it. And I would like to do something else in my life. It is a very, the corporate environment is very contagious. It's like a drug, right? Especially if you are on the top and you do good job, whatever. Everybody's saying, Jan, you are great, like you're flying everywhere. It's, best hotels and so on. It's fine. I was asked this morning, how was it first day after I left, Microsoft? And I said, well, you know what? I was like in front of the subway in Prague, and I was like, should I go there? I've not been there like for 20 years in the subway. And then I did it, and I'm using subway, all the time. But I mean, I'm using like public transport because it's the easiest way in Prague. And I can have like 4 or 5, drivers, doesn't matter, but you should not. And but it's still like your ego. It was really like that 5-10 minutes. I was like, this is really like the moment, it's not anymore. I mean, but this is it. And if you are like that, and I was like, I never lost like the sense of, normality. And I was like, I was in some advisory group for Prince Charles, and with the top politicians and stuff. But, that's what is happening in your life. It's alive. It's gone, right? Today I'm meeting, other interesting people. So it's amazing,
I have some friends, Jan, and I just ask you this question for a friend. Actually, that this kind of period is a particular period in everybody's life. A lot of people, they are like confused about what they want to do, and a lot of people they lost their job and they are looking for a new job. So, considering that you work always in the top management of companies, what is the advice that you can give about people that are looking for like a new opportunity in this kind of period that is kind of trouble?
Well, there are a couple of things which, this new environment will bring. Number one, it's a huge depth, right? All countries will have a huge depth. Okay. Number two, globalization will slow down. Not maybe dramatically, but it will slow down. Digitalization will go up. So whatever has to do with automation, digitalization, those companies are doing well, and I think will do very well in the future. So if there is a chance, to be maybe, like reskilled for some job in IT industry or connected industries, that's what I would do, right? I mean, obviously, I have a lot of friends in hospitality business, as you have probably, Enrico, and those restaurants and hotels, they really suffer, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's really, and my heart is with them, but and not everybody can get reskilled, and hopefully the economy will reopen again. But this is the situation. So I would definitely look for the sectors which are like digital,
Tech,
or or,
company, basically.
or which are touched by the digital technologies, because it's clear that now a lot of companies, I think IT is booming, and it's the same on, if you take a stock exchange, it's the same. But the companies, they will start to do much more, digitalize and automate the processes. It will, happen more and more as we speak.
Yeah, now I assume that in your career you hire many people,
Right.
like a manager. If you have to, I mean, I'm interested to know like the criteria that you use when it's about like hiring people in
Mhm.
your experience.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are looking, into the CVs, studying the CVs. I mean, CV is great, right? I mean, I also look at the CV. But what I was looking at was like independent critical thinking. Okay. So
Right?
I would start, like, imagine I was doing a lot of interviews when I was a chairman for Europe. I was doing a lot of interviews in Brussels. Okay. That person would come to me and I would say, okay, tell me how many petrol stations are here in Brussels. Obviously, that guy was taken out of the comfort zone big time. Okay. If the guy would say, okay, I can Google it, no problem, not good guy for me. If that person would say, okay, in Brussels, we have the population is like that, how many families are there? Maybe they have there's like 1.5 car per family in average, for example, right? It makes no sense, but in average, that's the guy I wanted to have, really, like independent thinking. So independent critical thinking, that's number one. It's a key.
Okay.
Number two, what kind of the team player is that? Because at the end of the day, today it's not. I mean, you can be individual performer, but unless you are a great team player, it's like, I'm the guy who is coaching the Czech soccer team, is a great friend of mine, Jaroslav Šilhavý. He attended some of my seminars, and he's a great guy because he's able. We don't have like superstars in the team. We have some good. We have Souček is a good player in Premier League, Patrick Schick in Bundesliga, but they are not yet superstars like Ronaldo or Messi,
Right.
stuff like that. So we have good players, but he created a very strong team. So you can create the superstar team from the good players if you create a synergy and you inspire them, right? But you need to make sure that they are also like team players. So team player.
Okay.
And last but not least, I was always asking the question, okay, when you were in some tough situation and challenging situation, what did you do, number one, and what did you learn? Okay. Very often I would hear like, I've never been in a tough situation because I'm the great guy and I can cope with everything. Not good guy for me.
Okay.
That's disaster, right? So, and last but not least, I was really taught by Bill. Once we were flying somewhere, and I was asking him, Bill, what does it take to have a best team in the world? Okay. And he said, you need to have 8 players. This is it. You need to have 8 players. Okay. I said, well, fine. Good. And he said, if you will have some B players, they will create a C team. And I said, how comes, B players creating C team? And he explained to me, and it's very much true. He said, because B players are afraid not only of the A players, but they are also afraid of the B players. That's why they hire C players. Okay. Once the A players will figure out that, the basically the norm, is going, down, like the standard is going down, they will drop their performance, and that's how you're dropping the overall performance. And this is it. You obviously you cannot have all A players, but if you have some player who is like B plus with the A potential, and you basically invest in that person, that's fine, right? But if somebody is like B player for 10, 15 years, there's like, it's better if you really want to have a top team. This is what it takes. And a lot of people, sometimes I needed to say, hello to some people who were my friends, but they were not able to basically grow with the business, right? Because you have a different look. If you have an organization like it's like
sorry, Jan, I just want to remind to the viewers that if they want to ask you something, they can like just post the question on the chat.
Sure, I will see it here in the comments. So you can ask guys.
You can reply live. Okay,
yeah,
you can continue. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Back to that. When basically I'm coaching some startups. The issue with the startups is you have some founder, and that founder, he or she thinks that he or she will do it forever. And you have like half of that crowd who is okay to have like couple of direct reports and start it and have a lot of dynamics. But once the company is growing and you are adding managerial levels, you are to basically lead people is different from leading managers. It's a very different job, right? And a lot of people will not be able to do it. It's much better in that case that they may move to the chairman role, like executive.
What is the difference, Jan? What is the difference?
What is the difference? What is the difference? Because if you manage people who are like individual contributors, okay, that's a different. Because if you are like leading managers, managing managers, you need to build leaders basically, because they are managing. It's a different. Like you are like building individual contributor, and you are building the leaders. That's a very different, right? And it takes different skills. Once you are able to add like one layer, usually you are able, like Bill Gates was the great CEO, right? And he was able to, company was growing. They started like 6-7 people.
What do you think is the best quality for a manager?
What is the look manager? I tell you what, I'll give you some story how managers appear on the earth and how leaders appear on the earth. And what is the difference? Okay. Manager, because people were organized around hunting, okay, and the manager was the guy who was saying, okay, Joe, you will be responsible here for that, and you will be responsible for that, like managing the work around that animal which they captured, maybe whatever, right, or try to capture. That was the manager. But then suddenly what happened in that specific forest, there was no more animals, okay, or there was very little animals. Okay. Then somebody, they started to call him leader, came and said, guys, if we will stay here, it will be very, very, very painful and we may not survive. If we will go to the other forest, there is some pain on the way because, we need to move, but there will be a lot of animals, okay? And then if people started to believe in what he believed, they move with him. So I think manager is like managing, and again, it's the same person. I was also not leader all the time, right? I was also managing things. You are like managing, leading, right? All together. But manager is like managing. Leader is basically person. Leader is not defined by the business card. Leader is defined by the people who are following him even during tough times, okay? It's about followers, okay? That's why, like, political leadership, what is it? I don't see any political leader today in Europe. Sorry, right? I don't see it. They take care of themselves and about the votes of the voters. They don't care about the voters.
They don't communicate
exactly. And unfortunately, society is so much polarized. And in the politics is very strange to me. It's very different from business. Because in business, if Google would do something good, Microsoft would license that piece of software or whatever, and we may work together. In politics, if you are from the other party and you may have a good idea, it goes like that. There are some exceptions. I used to advise to, Finnish government many, many years ago. In those, Scandinavian countries, there is much more like they are really, it's strategic governance, basically. They are basically, governing strategically, okay? And there is a much more consensus-driven, leadership, right? And between the parties. And that's what it makes different. But back to that, so the leader is somebody who will, inspire people through the vision. Now, what is the vision? Vision was the idea of the guy. There are some animals there in the forest. If people will start to believe with what leader believes, then he will move the crowd, right? And now, obviously, it's about the change. Okay, people will change, guys, only for two reasons, and only for two reasons. Number one, it's pain. Number two, it's pleasure. And the best thing is to combine both of those. You may say, okay, hey guys, we are doing very well, right? Business-wise, it's very well. But if we will stay like that, 2 years from now, competitors will, caught up, and it will not be good. So you create a little bit sense of the urgency, sense of the pain. You say it will be a bit, painful if we will move from here to a better place. But then there will be, pleasure. And if you combine it like that, and people believe in what you believe, and you are using because the leader is able to figure out who is who, what are the talents of the specific people, and the talents of person A will basically cover the weaknesses of the person B, and the other way around. Yeah. Creating the synergies is the same in the soccer. Creating synergies and inspiring people. This is it. Okay. So basically, what is leadership? Leader is basically the guy who is like figuring out who is who, putting them together, creating synergy, creating the vision, and making other people crazy, right? So they believe what he or she believes. And this is it. So there are, thick books about leadership, but it's quite easy. But easy things are not simple, right?
What is because you have a lot of knowledge, so I guess that you read a lot of books about this.
Right.
What is your favorite book, Jan?
The one book which influenced me a lot, Stephen Covey. He was teaching us also in Microsoft, Stephen.
Right?
7 Habits of the Most Effective People.
Okay, I read it.
Really good one. It's about, meaning in your life. It's about time management. It's about your values and stuff like that. And I work a lot with Gallup. I'm friend with, Jim Clifton is the CEO of Gallup. So I worked for 20 years with them. I use like Gallup Strengths Finder and all of those, studies on. There is a great, talking about the management, there's a great book. I helped him to launch the book here in Europe last year called It's a Manager. It's a Manager from Jim Clifton. It's a Manager. Okay.
Right.
And I have this book here. That's the book, right? And basically what he put some nice words that I do a lot of things for the humankind. But he's saying in this book that, basically 70% of the success for, and it's all because Gallup, guys, is having a lot of data from the surveys they are doing. It's data-based organization, right? It's not huge. They have like 2,000 people, but they are well known, 70% of the success for all organizations are managers. It's not because if you can have a great people, but unless you have a great managers, you are not able to use what is best in those great people.
Yeah, because in the end, it's the manager who motivates the people.
And one in their surveys, one thing which they figure out that in the future it's much more like from the traditional boss to the coach, that young generation especially, they expect like instant feedback, not like once a year, performance review or whatever, right? Funny enough, I did like a big interview for the Czech, economist. It's called Econom, okay? Like I was on the cover page, whatever. And they put on the cover page, I really said it, I said, like the old style managers will be very soon gone, okay? And I put it on LinkedIn, and a lot of people, watched that interview, but I got only, usually I'm getting, I think like 6,000, 7,000 people watch it, and I should get at least 500 likes. I got only like 120 likes, which means there's a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine, but that's it, that's my belief, and I think this is what will happen. And last but not least, because I work today with some, top managers, they are like my age or 5 years younger, but I have also some, YouTubers and people around 20 years old. Those are those people I coach, and I coach them like top down on business, like Kerry Kirsten. She's followed by 500,000 people, on YouTube, one of the best YouTubers. And so I coach Kerry like top down, which means like I'm giving him some advice like mental toughness, how to run business. But she's coaching me bottom up, what I should do on social networks and stuff like that, right? Because I'm one of the oldest on Clubhouse. I'm like 61 years from now. I'm probably the oldest Czech on the Instagram, right? I have like 130,000 people on different social networks, right? So I really think that we are at some stage where there'll be a couple of things. We talk about technology, which will change significantly. Technology is not changing what is done, but how things are done. So there'll be a little disruption thanks to the technology. And we have disruptive generation because this generation, the young people, Generation Z or whatever you call it, they understand and they use technology in much better way than baby boomers. I mean, I'm like based on the fact that I'm 60 years old and my slogan is 60 is new 40. You should understand that.
How do you think the social media will impact the communication?
Social media, first of all, social media are impacting, your brain big time. Okay. I tell you how brain works, guys. Your brain, a lot of people think that your brain is reacting to what is happening around you. It's not true. Your brain is predicting. If your brain would need to react for each and every situation, that would be very ineffective and inefficient. And because brain, first of all, brain is like budgeting resources for your body. That's what the brain is doing, actually, right? What is happening, for example, if there's some situation, your senses are bringing that situation to your brain. Your brain is not reacting to the situation immediately. Your brain is looking into the subconsciousness, into your long-term memory. If you were already in such situation, then, taking that photo from the past and emulating what was the energy, consumption or energy planning at that time, planning that energy and doing the thing. Give you one example. There's a great video with Ronaldo. Enrico, what is you are Spanish or Italian?
I'm Italian.
Italian, okay. So, Italian, good. Ronaldo, Juventus, okay. So, okay. Ronaldo, there is a great video with Ronaldo. They are telling him, hey, Ronaldo, you stay here and you will try to score as many goals by your, head, okay. And they said that guy will, pass the ball to you from the corner, and we will count how many, goals you will score. Okay. But they are not telling him one key thing, that once the guy is kicking the ball, there is a dark everywhere on the stadium. And Ronaldo did all, goals. And then he said, let's do it, like by my shoulder. And he was doing it by my shoulder. And obviously they were like shocked, but the psychologists, they knew what is it. Because Ronaldo, his subconsciousness is full of those things because he did so many things. So in the long-term memory, it's there. So what is happening when the last information his brain is having when the guy is kicking the ball, okay? And that's the last information. And that's what the senses are bringing into his brain. Then the ball is flying. His brain, based on the touch, based on the what was the force of the kick. Basically, it's calculated the trajectory of the ball.
Okay.
And he is jumping like there is a dark. He's jumping there and doing the job. It's amazing. This is the thing. The brain is not reacting, because if brain would react, he would not be able to score. Okay. But the brain is predicting. Back to the social networks. If it's like that, your brain is not, reacting, but your brain is predicting. You need to be very careful, because it's clear that subconsciousness, the long-term memory, is playing the key role how you will be able to cope with the stress, negative emotions, and stuff like that, like with your life, basically, right? And that's why, like social networks, I mean, I try to use social network like broadcasting my stuff.
Okay.
Guys, help them, basically, right? It's mainly, like unlocking human potential and all of the stuff and learning from the others. But I'm not reading, like whenever I have some, fucking hating comments, I'm not giving a shit to that, right? Right? Because like there was a guy, I was doing live, and the guy was putting some shitty comments. I said, look, your comments are like present to me, or like the gift to me. Okay. If I will not accept this gift, and I'm not accepting your gift, that gift will stay with you. So that shit is sitting with you. It will sit.
It's like the principle of nobody can hurt you without your permission.
Exactly. This is it. So that's one thing. Okay. So there's a lot of haters there, right? The second thing is because the brain, amygdala, which is like the part of the brain like creating, it's your ego. It used to be stress, the monkey. It's basically comparing to each other and judging immediately. And it can be like, there are like half of the photos which are on Instagram are like made up, right? All of those like girls, you see it immediately. And all other guys, I'm not looking that good like her. I need to make my eyes or whatever shit, right? So I'm not giving a shit to that, right? That's why I love Clubhouse, because in Clubhouse, the only thing you have, it's your voice, right? And you have your photo. You can, fake your photo, but it's very small, Yeah. Other than that, that's why it's interesting. But on Clubhouse, those traditional Instagram stars, they don't score that much, on Clubhouse, right? So it's like the knife. You can cut somebody with knife, or you can cut the bread for somebody. You know what I mean, right? So those are the social networks, but it has a lot of influence on our brain and on subconsciousness, that's for sure, right? And so one needs to be careful. There is a movie called Social Dilemma on Netflix. I would definitely recommend you to watch it. Okay, but now I need to tell you what I hate about the movie. Okay, not about the movie. That movie is fine, but I hate some of those people. They are like multi-millionaires from Google and Facebook. Right. They were doing those things. They get a lot of money because of that. And now they go and criticize what they did. It's absolutely unauthentic, right? And I'm sorry. And I if I would be like director of the movie, for me, the movie itself, it's very professional. And I think majority, what it says there, it's good. But this thing that those it's played by the people who were doing those things, it's like devaluating, the movie in my eyes.
Jan, we are almost finished the broadcast. Right. I just wanna ask you, for the audience and for the people who are going to watch the video not live, how can they connect with you if they wanna connect with you?
Right. Absolutely, guys. I'm on, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Mainly the English, content is on Instagram. There's English stuff on YouTube. I have a web, www.janmuhlfeit.com. I'm on a Clubhouse. I'm followed by like 31,000 people. I do a lot of, rooms. I created club, fitness, health club. After a couple of days, there's like 1,300 people there in the club. So there's a lot. I mean, you basically Google it and you can find, the name. I mean, the positive leader is really, it's not that I've written that book. I tell you what, there's a lot of my, I would say, wisdom and experience, both good and bad. And Melina, she is a professor. She was teaching at the, university. Now she's, pregnant second time. So she's at home, but she is great, writer, great business writer. So she put a lot of studies in that book, and even that book is used by Luxembourg Business School as a textbook for positive leadership. So definitely that book makes sense probably to read, right, if you want to learn more. And it's kind of the cookery book about self-awareness and how to get how to be successful, but not only successful but also happy. Yeah.
So Jan, thanks for your time, and I hope to have you soon in one of our physical events.
Perfect. I commit. I will come. Okay, guys. Thanks very much. I will finish by saying, that the world is, full of the copies, but only originals are writing the history. So be original. And the last point, it's kind of my mantra. Rational people are usually right, but only crazy people are changing the world. So come and join me and let's change the world for the better. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Jan.